Marinaro, the Sick Podcast, day one of unrestricted free agency in the National Hockey League. Busy as usual. Came at a later date this year, of course, because of COVID and the league being a shortened season, everything being postponed a little bit later on. It happened on Wednesday, July 28th. It opened up, and one man who was very busy, he is with Newport Sports, and they represent several hockey players, one of which is former Montreal Canadian Phillip Danault. He is former National Hockey League player. You'll remember him as the goalie for the Quebec Nordiques, among other things. Stéphane Fiset, bonsoir. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Tony?
Very, very well. I so thank you for doing this because I know how busy a day it was for you and your colleagues at Newport Sports. So thank you very much joining the Sick Podcast. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Steph, how much preparation goes into unrestricted free agency for agents and agencies?
Well, it started almost a year ago. That the preparation for today. So we talked to Phil to see what his expectation was, and if he wanted to try to go to the market or not. And he decided he wanted to try the market. So we had a job to do, and at the office in Toronto. We got a guy who's really he's really smart with numbers. So he did all the comparison, and he brought the numbers, and that's how we met with Phil and his wife, and we said, okay, we're looking for a deal that long for that kind of money. Do you agree with that? Yes, good. So for the rest of the year, my job was to support Phil, to help him to go through some tough time. Everybody knows his beginning of the season was like a tough beginning of the season. So that was my job to try to help him to go through that tough time of the year. And after that, he picked up his game, and for the rest of the season, he played really well. So I was there to support more the Phil and his wife. And because it's never easy for a player to go through a year when you know that's your last year of the of your contract, because you're scared you might get hurt, you might have a really bad season, everything can go wrong. So my job was to settle down Phil a little bit and make sure he was in his mind he was free and he was okay to play hockey. So it's a long process. But at the end, when you sign a deal like today, you're really happy.
It's the Sick Podcast. I'm Marinaro, and you can listen to us on iHeartRadio and follow us on other social media platforms. And the show is brought to you by Essentia, the world's only natural memory foam mattress. Go to myessentia.com/sickpod and use code SickPod for a free pillow with your purchase. Essentia Beyond Organic Sleep. If people were sleeping today, they woke up at around 2 o'clock this afternoon when the Los Angeles Kings made it official that they signed Phillip Danault to a 6-year deal at $5.5 million per season. Stéphane, I want to backtrack if we can here. Phillip Danault, drafted 26th overall by Chicago back in 2011. It's well documented that Marc Bergevin was part of the scouting staff in Chicago at the time, was very high on Phillip Danault, so high that when he came here to Montreal as the general manager, he acquired Phillip Danault in a trade in 2016. Danault, a Montreal Canadian for the last 5.5 seasons, 5 points in 21 games, 40 points in 82 games, 25 points in 52 games, 53 points in 81 games, 47 points in 71 games, 24 points in 15-3 games. And of course, points don't say it all because he's best known for his 200-foot play and his great defensive play. Well, we'll get to that in just a second. A lot of Montrealers, knowing how much Marc Bergevin appreciated Phillip Danault, can't understand that Phillip Danault today is not a Montreal Canadian, because it appeared like Marc Bergevin was the president of the Phil Danault fan club. If I would have told you back in September, Phil Danault will not be a Montreal Canadian on July 28th, you, Stéphane Fiset of Newport Sports, one of his agents, you would have told me what exactly?
I would tell you before the Montreal Canadiens make their offer that you're probably a crazy man. I thought like Phillip will have signed in Montreal and never test the market. So, but after the offer and everything went through, after that I wasn't surprised that today he signed with the LA Kings.
In conversation with Stéphane Fiset. All right, so I want to go back to September now. There were reports that in September, the Montreal Canadiens offered Phillip Danault a contract. Those reports that he was offered a contract have been confirmed by the Canadiens and by Phillip Danault. What still has not been confirmed was the report that came out that it was a 6-year, $30 million contract. Stéphane Fiset, can you tell us tonight on the Sick Podcast if that report, that number, 6 years, $30 million back in September, was true or false?
Well, it was more like a 5 years, 5 million a year. So it was a 25 million deal and not a 30 million deal.
Wow, 5 years, 25 million. That was the deal.
Yeah.
And at that point, a counter offer was made, correct?
Yes. We did one, and we never had a response. Like Mark never called us back after that, and that's when Phillip decided to go through the season and play the full season without any extension on his contract.
What was the counter offer, Stéphane?
Well, I don't want to go through, those numbers. Still got some respect from for the Montreal Canadiens, but that was a good back offer. So and they never came back. And today, Mark explained it that his number was $5 million a year, and because of the cap, the salary cap, and everything, so it was hard for him to go higher than that. But we kind of offer like more like I don't want to put any numbers, okay? Because it's not it's how can I say it? It's in the past now.
I understand.
But yes, we did.
I respect that.
We did come back with an offer, but they didn't accept it, and they didn't come back to us with any other offer.
If you're a fan of Phillip Danault, you can go to sportbuffshop.com for all of your officially licensed sports apparel and more. Use code SICK15 for 15% off on all of their items, and you can buy yourself a Los Angeles Kings jersey or hoodie. With Stéphane Fiset, one of Phillip Danault's agents of Newport Sports. You mentioned that part of your team in Newport Sports, you have a gentleman who's really good with numbers and great comparables. So let me ask you this. Which player was a comparable at the time for Phillip Danault? And if you'll allow me, I'd like to guess one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Brock Nelson, possible? Second line centerman?
Yeah.
Good two-way player, 200-foot player?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. That was one of them. And right now I can't even. It's been a long day, so I don't remember all the names. Nelson was one of the top one we used to compare Phil.
Okay, really, really good. Why, in your opinion, by all accounts, Phil loved Montreal. C'est un gars de chez nous. He played very well here. He had a fantastic playoff. We know that Marc Bergevin liked him from day one when he was back in junior hockey. We know he loved the Montreal Canadiens. We know the fans loved him. Why, in your opinion, was there never another conversation after the counteroffer?
Well, that's a good question. I think it's more like a question for Mark than for me.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think after the counter offer, they said, well, let's see how Phil's going to play this year. and we talk after the season. But after the season, we never had any talk, and we were hoping that just before the today at noon, we were like received something from Mark, but we never received anything. So we went to the market, and the LA Kings were like really aggressive with Phil. They called us a couple times, and we met today with the whole team. You know, the coach, the GM, the president, and they were like showing Phil a lot of love, and they show him how they appreciate him, his game, is the person too. So that's why Phil felt really good to accept the offer from the Kings.
And once the Canadiens didn't call back today, I guess Phil thought, they don't want me that badly. I have LA who's showing me the love. This is what I wanted to feel today. I wanted to feel love today. I'm getting it from Los Angeles. I sign with them. Or did Phil ever say to you, do you think we should call Mark today? Or was there already, did you already know that if Mark wasn't calling today, your camp was not going to call?
Yeah. Well, we know, and Phil knew that we didn't receive any call from Montreal. So he knew Mark wants to go with them. Well, the Montreal Canadiens wanted to go another way, like more with the young players. And what Phil was asking, I guess the Montreal wasn't able to go that high for him. And that's when Phil said, you know what, let's test the market and go for it and see what I can have on the market. And when, just like I said, when the Kings show up and offer him this contract, it was hard for him to say no to that kind of a contract. So, but you know what? It's a business, and they choose to go with the young guys, and that's okay too. Phil, he doesn't feel like pissed off or angry at the Montreal Canadiens. He really enjoyed the time he played with the Montreal Canadiens, but right now it's going another phase. It's a new start for him, and hopefully that he's going to have success over there in LA.
A lot of hockey players have secured their future today. Of course, the first day of unrestricted free agency. And so they're going to celebrate. Sophistication is there for your celebrations, event rentals, live music, DJs, sound systems, tents, chairs, tables, decor, lighting, photo booth, TV screens. Your one-stop shop in Montreal. Call them at 514-570-5770. I watched and listened to Phillip Danault's press conference today. And said a lot of things that I found very, very interesting. But one of the things he said was basically he was going to be able to play the role that he wanted to play in LA, besides talking about all the love. He has made it very clear that he was, in the past year, he didn't know what role he was going to play with the Canadiens because of the emergence of some young players and players in the system like Suzuki and Kotkaniemi. But I have to ask you, Stefan, will that not pop up also in Los Angeles? He's playing with Anze Kopitar. They drafted Quinton Byfield. They drafted Alex Turcotte, and albeit Byfield and Turcotte are probably not going to be able to establish themselves maybe for the upcoming season, but in a couple of years from now, they probably will. Will that situation not happen in Los Angeles in a couple of years from now, or?
Well, maybe, but you know what? In a few years, in a couple of years, who knows where Kopitar is going to be? So we don't know. Kopitar, I think he's got 2 years left with the Kings, and Byfield and Turcotte's going to get some more experience. I think Phil is a good mentor for the young players. We all know what he did with Suzuki and with Kotkaniemi. I think he helped them a lot, especially on get comfortable during games and around the team. So I think that's what he's going to do there in LA. but he's not afraid that young kids going to go before him, or they're going to play. They're going to be first centerman or second centerman or stuff like that. He's just going out there right now and thinking about having the best season he never had, and enjoying the game over there, and enjoying a new start. I played there in LA for 6 years, so I told him what a great city what LA is, and I play with Rob Blake, I play with Luke Robitaille, I play with Nelson Emerson and Glenn Murray, who take care of the young kids too. So it was easy for me to boost. Can we say to boost the LA Kings for Phil?
Yeah, you knew you were putting him in good hands, right? With people that you trust.
Yes.
Stéphane, how many teams, when it got down to the wire, how many teams were in on Phillip Danault today?
Well, there were like 5 or 6 teams who were, on Phil, but the Kings were the more aggressive. The Kings are the one who make an offer. The other teams were kind of waiting a little bit to see what's going to happen today. But because they were like, well, if we get this guy, after that, we're going to go for you and stuff like that.
I got it. So the best offer was courtesy of the Los Angeles Kings
for the
then.
other teams. So, yeah.
Excellent photo. A shout out to them. Centrally located close to downtown shopping. University ships to all of Canada. Professional staff at the store and online to help you choose the gear you really need. Excellentphoto.ca. Speaking of photos, Stéphane, everyone's watching us on social media right now, having this chat about Phillip Danault and unrestricted free agency. Can you kind of paint a picture for all of them as to how it went down with Los Angeles today? What are you on? You're on a Zoom call? You're on a Google call? How many people are there? Do they show a PowerPoint? Do they show a video presentation? How long did it last? What did it say? Was Phillip's entire family in the call? How many people were there? I basically want to know everything. I think you're jamming up a little bit here. Do we have you? You're jamming up. You're jamming up. Okay, we have you now. You were jamming up a little bit there.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Okay.
You heard what I said?
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
No, sorry. I just heard the big picture. That's it.
Okay, paint a picture for me. How did this call go down today with Los Angeles? Is it a Zoom call? Is it some other video call? How many people are there? Do they show Phillip a highlight reel? Do they, what do they tell him? How many people were on the call? Was Phil with his entire family? How many people from the agency were there? Basically, I want to know everything. Make me feel like I was there today. What happened? Unfortunately, it looks like we have a Wi-Fi connection. Okay, we're better now.
Yeah. So it started at 12. We had a Zoom with the Kings. Just like I said, Rob Blake was there. Luke Robitaille was there. Todd, the coach, was there. And from our side was me, Don Meehan, Greg Oster, Phil, and his wife. So we had a Zoom there, and at 12 o'clock. And the Kings started the meeting with saying all they love Phil, all the way he play and stuff like that, and they show us the lineup, where Phil can fit in the lineup, and after that,
second line center.
Second line center, and Todd, the coach, after that explained to Phil that he wants him to play like on 5-on-5, on a PK, even on the power play. So he's gonna have a chance to show it's an offensive play. And the thing is, start playing against the best player on the other side. Now with Phil, with the team, they're gonna have a chance to have 2 lines playing against the best line on the other side. So one night, maybe it's going to be Kopitar playing against the best line, and Phil's going to have the chance with this line to go more offense. And the next game, maybe it's going to be Phil playing against the best line. So we talk about that for maybe a half an hour. And we disconnect after that. We talk, me, Donnie, Greg Oster, Phil and his wife, to see how Phil was feeling about it. He felt really good about the meeting. So Don Meehan called back the Kings to see what the offer can be from their part. So they come back with an offer. We come back with another offer, and it took maybe like 10 minutes, and the deal was done.
Oh, wow. Amazing. He is Stéphane Fizet of Newport Sports. He is one of Phillip Danault's agents. And you can place your bets on MyBookie. Go to mybookie.ag/the Sick Podcast and use code SickPicks for a 50% deposit bonus. Bet, win, get paid. I bet you'll already find odds on who's going to win the Stanley Cup next season because it's already around the corner. All right, on Phillip Danault. There's some players that their stats don't tell you the whole story. Phil Danault, you take a look at his offensive stats, you might say, okay, there's some ups, there's some downs, but maybe the contract is maybe too much for a player who produces those numbers. But then you take a look at his defensive numbers, his 200-foot game, his lines Corsi over the last 3 years, the work that he did in shutting down some of the best players in the playoffs, and Austin Matthews was one, of course, and the job that he did on him, and then in the other series as well versus everyone that he went up against on the top line. Phil Danault, I guess, is one of those players where, you know, the value that he brings to a hockey team is more than just numbers.
Yeah, it is more than numbers, and even, you know, people are saying he doesn't have any points, and but when you look at the stats, he's in the top 15 in the league for the points 5-on-5, and Phil doesn't play on power play, so it's hard for him to, you know, to go and say, well, I deserve this contract because of my points. You know, it's not it's game. But I think right today, Phil, what he did with that contract, he just set the bar for that type of player. Never that type of player signed that kind of deal before. So right now, I think the league starting to recognize a little bit more that type of player, how important it is for a team, and especially in the playoff, to win some round in the playoffs. So what he did today, I think, I'm pretty sure the NHLPA are really happy with the deal Phil Danault signed today.
Well, and I'm sure Phil Danault is as well, and you guys over at Newport Sports as well. A lot of people talk about Quebecers, that the Canadiens didn't have that many of them on the team. So the ones that were there obviously have a big responsibility. Some Quebecers like it. Some Quebecers don't. Some Quebecers find there was too much pressure. How did Phil find playing for the Montreal Canadiens?
He loved it. He loved it, and he didn't feel any pressure because he was a French Quebecers playing for the Montreal Canadiens. He enjoyed his time here in Montreal. He enjoyed talking to you guys, to reporter, after the game, before the games, or after practice. That never bothered him he never felt that kind of pressure from the media. You know, he really enjoyed his time here in Montreal. And I think he said it today too, that he had a really, really great time during his past 5 years.
Stéphane, not to make a big story out of it, but I would imagine every athlete, every professional has professional pride, of course. You'd have to think he was a little offended that they didn't get back to him, and they had contracts in the last year for other players before they had contracts for him. Was he offended? Does he leave Montreal offended?
No, not at all. Not at all. He understands it's a business, that the Montreal Canadiens went another way. He's not mad. He's not offended. He really understands everything. It's just a business. And he hoped too that the Montreal Canadiens and the fans understand that too. It's a business. That's why he signed with the Kings too.
It's 10 p.m. Eastern. It's been a very, very long day for you. Part of me actually feels guilty that I put you up to this at this time. So
don't worry.
You deserve one of these. It's a Johnny Bootlegger's Whiskey Old Fashioned, both refreshing and authentic to the classic cocktail, available now at SAQs near you. And if you give me your address, I will send you some for you to enjoy this summer. In the meantime, I'll have one for you.
Right now.
Send it to me and I'll have some for you. Cheers, Stéphane Fiset, for doing a great job of representing Phillip Danault and finding him and his family a home. He was great to deal with here in Montreal. Class all the way. I hope he has a ton of success in Los Angeles, and I hope you guys can get him a pizza deal in LA.
I don't know about the pizza, but with this deal, he doesn't need a pizza deal. He just can go buy his own pizza.
Merci beaucoup, Stéphane Fiset. Hopefully you and I can have a pizza together one day. I appreciate you taking the time. Stéphane Fiset, former National Hockey League player, now agent with Newport Sports, representing Phil Danault, among others. It's the Sick Podcast. I'm Marinero. You can listen to us on iHeartRadio and follow us on all social media platforms. As they say in Italian, salute.
Salut.
Merci, Stéphane. Bye-bye.